Wow, Michigan. This tornado's in Indonesia, by the way. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I'd be back. I'm back like a tornado, tearing up the town. All right, let's get on over here to our solar report. This was our thumbnail here, and quite the image we've captured here. Pretty much black and white as to what's going on here. So let me just kind of zoom back out and get this little solar report started here and start taking care of business, because I'm all about business. So here we are, February 25th, 2024. Look over on this side here, on the red side, we have wait, is it this frame or the next one? I think it's this image over on the red side. Looking like a yin-yang sign. There's a little core right here and another one right here, and then they're split down the middle, almost looking like a yin-yang symbol. Pretty weird. Anyway, so let's just get back to business here. So let me go ahead and start this loop and let it play for a second there. Let's slide it over. There we go. Oh, nice, crystal clear CME, just perfect structure right there. You can see the object and everything. There's a couple of them. So we'll start dissecting this here in just a second here. Catch the opening again when it comes back around. And boom. So opening frame 024. We got this little guy popping out over the side, stuff sneaking around the tail end of this that we saw last night. Okay, and then we're going to start going through this. Okay, we have our first little CME kind of shooting off over the side here. Then watch as we see, this little guy flying through the Ahura Mazda with the little streaky tail type thing is right there. It's not a very good image of it. It's pretty small. But anyways, we're focusing on this anyways. But it buzzes through at this moment in time here. So as this CME or this object starts to, interact with the sun, this is a first one right here. This black circle right there. You can see the instrument reacting to it. In fact, we'll get up in there. Okay. See how the instrumentation is arcing around it, and actually it's curving around it, painting it too. So here's your little object. You can see its magnetic field. It's latched on to the sun. It's taking plasma with it. Okay, sorry about all the in and out, but we're just going to do it. So, meanwhile, we got this one going out. We have a secondary blast coming now. And here are our two little objects coming out. But emerging from behind the occulter here. And where was this one frame? There it is right there. I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, we can go tighter than that. We have to. All the way in. All right. Now let me get it right there. Okay, you can see our one little object right here. We have a secondary one up there. Okay, so then in this next frame is our thumbnail frame. Here's our object. And this doesn't even look perfectly round. This has some like corners and edges and almost kind of, well, almost like a cross type shape. You should come over here to this instrument and check it out yourself too. Okay, don't just take my word for it here. Come on over and check it out. All right, it's black and white. It's pretty plain as day. We got this object here. It's got all this plasma. It's wrapped. It's got this magnetic field around it. There's actually two of them. So these two combined have their combined magnetic field. But this one's very dominant or prominent right there. Okay, NASA, explain this. Suspicious observers. Anybody, I dare you to talk about what this is. Explain this object right here. Ah, that's why you got this channel, because I'm the one that reports on that stuff. All right, so as you can see, there is something there causing a CME. Actually, two objects. The other one's a little faint. Okay, let me slide this back over. What happened here? I need a little bit more of the button. All right, so let's continue on out now. As this object moves on out, you can still see it right here. You can also see all this ball of plasma. See all this hot plasma that these objects have gathered up right there? And there's other stuff going on in there as well. I'm sure you guys can see other stuff too. Your eyes are trained now. You see more than the average person does. Okay, so we'll set that loop back into motion. Let you see these discharges here, these objects. A couple of them in a row there, causing those two CME blasts. The longer duration one at first, then that secondary one. Okay. And where's that one frame again? All right, let me get this image right there pulled up. All right, so NASA, you got some explaining to do. What's going on here, huh? I mean, the evidence is getting more and more undeniable each show we do here. It's pretty cool. Actually, the Lord works in awesome ways. He is amazing. All right, back down to this. All right, so one last time with the loop. Whoops, going forward. Let's see that one more time there. So you see our activity here on the sun today, induced by a couple of objects there. All right, now let's get on over to the solar ham. Start cooking some bacon. All right, so you can see here, let me just go ahead and zoom in on this one for you guys. There we go. We have our main spike right here. This was that long duration CME. The other ones didn't really cause too much on the chart. So if you were going by the chart here, you would think there wasn't much activity on the sun today. But as we just observed, there were a couple of pretty good CMEs there induced by some objects, right? M flare that we had was a 2.1 down here. It was out of 3590 again. Okay, the very dangerous region. Your X flare potentials, 30%. That's pretty high, but that's good. You know, that's where it should be because of this sunspot. M flare, 70%, because it's still constantly just kicking out. Yesterday, a couple M flares. Here's another one. So it's a very unstable sunspot, very dangerous sunspot. All right, let me pull back out of this just a tad bit more so we can get the rest of this page in there. Okay, our solar indices for the next couple of days here going to be or right here, sorry. Our geomagnetic forecast for the next couple of days is all G0. All right, so we're not expecting too much. We had that little blast hit us today. Remember that it was due, midday today. And here's our KP index kind of showing what we got hit here. These last two little bars, see how we had a little impact here, it dropped down, and then we had our latest little impact right there. It put some yellow on the auroras here for a while. You can still see there's a hint of yellow in this one right here. So we're a little bit of mild absorption in the northern hemisphere. It's kind of a little bit more, more than normal here on the south. So we are absorbing some geomagnetic effects here, or we did. So let's just read this real quick and then we'll open up the tracker. Below is an updated look at the AR 3590 on Sunday. Solar activity during the past 24 hours was moderate, and 3590 produced a long duration M2.1 flare peaking at 1722. A CME does not appear likely from this event. There is, however, at least one or perhaps even two CMEs that begin to emerge beginning around 11 and looks to be associated with activity off the west limb. They will likely be directed away from Earth. All right, so nothing kind of coming our way. The ones that kind of did come off the west limb are likely be directed away from Earth. Needs to be reworded. Back to AR 3590. The lead section of the group showed steady growth today. While some decay was evident within the trailing section, the magnetic delta located in the center of the group appears weakened as well. Although a transition line between positive and negative polarity looks to be gaining traction within the lead group, moderate M flares will remain likely during the next 24 hours. The chance of another strong X flare. Okay, so folks, we still have a chance for another strong X flare. All right, not trying to be fear monger here, but let's just be honest. This thing is not out of the picture yet. Okay, all other regions, including the newly assigned 3595, appear to be stable for now. Okay, over here you can see the little threat C flare 90, M70, X30 right there, and then here's this group again, another image of this group. Let me pull this up. Okay, it doesn't have the pluses and negatives on it, but there is a very close fine line here where they're about to cross over. There's none going on right now, but the moment that happens, it can fire off a pretty healthy flare there. All right, so we're not out of range yet, but everybody keep praying. It actually calmed down. And what was a statistic I was looking at? We've had 4X flares, 10M flares, like 7 CMEs, and 0 magnetic storms. So we have dodged multiple bullets. It's just we have been getting lucky. It's good too because the Earth does not need to be absorbing any more energy from the sun. Now let's get over to the tracker here. Do some tracking. All right, see the CME moving northward or upward here away from us, so that's good. Let's go open this one though. Oh wait, that's the old stuff. I don't need to see that one. Yeah, that's already hit today, so let's get over to this one. Please, Lord, let it work. All right. So yeah, this one moving kind of, 90 degrees away from us, thankfully. That's good. We don't need another shot to, coming our way. So luckily the CME is moving away. All right. So this is still article from yesterday or the other day. All right, let's get on over to the D region real quick map. Please, Lord, can we have... Uh-oh. Please, Lord, can we have the instrument back? Sometimes I didn't pray quick enough. I clicked before I prayed and bang. It'll come back, though. Come on. Meanwhile, while we're waiting for this to come back, there it goes. Go ahead and load up the little movie real quick. Because I believe we did get a little impact from that M flare today. And it wasn't much. Oh, that's just recently right there. Maybe it's already off the... Yeah, it's already off of here. Because the M flare that came out of 3590 is facing us. So we did take an M flare impact, not a CME, but a flare impact. And I guess it's off of this already because it's too late. All right, moving on then. Come on over to spaceweather.com. All right. The weak impacts failed to cause a storm. As predicted, a CME grazed Earth's magnetic field on the 25th. However, the impact was weak and it did not cause a geomagnetic storm. The CME was hurled into space on February 21st by that erupting filament that we talked about in the sun's northern hemisphere. Big sunspot gets even bigger. Now, here's where guys pay attention. Giant sunspot AR 3590 spent the weekend getting bigger. This 2-day movie from NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory shows its area increasing by a quarter in only 48 hours. Okay, so it's growing bigger as it rotated around right, in our direction. 3590 is now the largest sunspot of solar cycle 25. For comparison, it is now 60% as large, not 60% larger, but 60% as large as the great sunspot that caused the Carrington event back in 1859. Even a 60% intensity Carrington event occurring today could cause problems for satellites, power grids, and internet connectivity. That's why forecasters are carefully watching this sunspot. Now, continuing on here. Last week, AR 3590 unleashed 3x flares in rapid succession, including the strongest flare of the current solar cycle. Since then, the sunspot has been relatively quiet, producing only a handful of low-level M-class explosions. It is gathering itself... is it gathering itself for another X flare? If so, the flare will be geo-effective as 3590 is directly facing Earth. Okay, something about this article here. It's weird. I don't like to talk politics too much, but how the media will take something out of context and reformulate it to make another message, right? Well, there is another message in here. They just didn't put it together. So I'm going to put it together for you a little bit here. Last week, 3590 unleashed 3 X flares in rapid succession. That's what caused problems for satellites, power grids, and internet connectivity. That's why forecasters are carefully watching this sunspot. Make sense now? They almost admitted to it right here, especially when they said even a 60% intensity Carrington event occurring today, which is kind of what we had, an X6 right to the face from a 60% intensity Carrington spot, right? That's what this is a 60%er. If we saw an event out of that, which we did, it would cause problems for satellites, power grids, and internet connectivity. You kind of get it? You understand what I'm saying here? Last week, 3590 unleashed 3 X flares, 3 in a row. We haven't seen that since 2017. The biggest one, the X6, hit us right in the face and caused problems for satellites, power grids, and internet connectivity. That's why forecasters are carefully watching this sunspot. That's why I am carefully watching this sunspot. When I see them remove the spike on the chart of the X6.3, why did they do that? There was no reason to do that. All the other information was there. Tons of people reported on it. Why remove that spike? That data was there. I captured the data. It came in. They're lying when they say it didn't come in. There was a problem. No, there wasn't. The problem was the truth. The problem was courage telling the truth. And here they kind of spill a little bit of the truth. It's 60% is large. But if a 60% intensity event occurred today, it could cause problems. Good job, you guys. Finally coming clean a little bit. Finally. What a radio blackout looks like. Yay, it's a bunch of lines on a graph, but you can see everything got shut down for a little bit. Okay. Now, let's move on. You know, they like to take headlines and warp them and twist them to fit their narrative. Well, how they like it when it's done back to them. Yeah, they go apoplectic. Now you know how I feel when that stuff's done to me. You guys don't put up with that either. All right, so actually no reason to really zoom in on this tonight. You can see we're going along. Had kind of a scraping event. A little pulse right here too. Got weak in this area, but we recovered, came out of it. Started grinding again a little bit right here. That's a pretty strong pulse. It goes down to what, 40 or 38 there, up to 38 hertz. So then we come out of the backside there. You know what? Let me refresh this. I think we could get a couple more bars because that's looking kind of weak coming out the backside here. Yeah, you see this little dark area going through there. There's a little weakness, but it's coming out of it, kind of coming back to normal right there. You see that last little bar right there that refreshed. So it looks like we're doing okay right there. Nothing too major going on. So that's good. The pressure down below is still there. It's very close to the edge. Any kind of inbound energy causes a reaction, and then it gets weak right after the reaction. Okay, moving on. Whoa. Oh, no. Over here to our polar vortex. This thing is going weird now. See the missing the one eye. This eye is really strong. I see the little nose here. And it's still smiling at you. Look like you got punched in the eye. You got a big old black eye or something. Anyway, so back to business though. As you see, this other vortex is weakening. It's widening out. All right. It's not as close together, intensified. So it's widening out. It seems to be weakening in intensification. Meanwhile, the other side is getting well organized and strengthening. Now, there's no speed that, we speed up the winds or anything. This is the speed that it's moving. And can you see that this is moving a lot faster now than what we're used to seeing, and that this is moving a lot slower? All right, so our polar vortex has shifted again. And now a lot of the strength is more, it's more organized on this side, and more of the strength is on this polar vortex while this one starts to weaken. All right, now that's going to change up the weather here down below. See how it's fighting across the country now, across most of the country? The only part is not is this blue line, south of this blue line. But this vortex is mainly going across the country backwards, all right? So when we hit the this level, the transition level, it creates that buckle in it. Remember, I was showing you that buckle that it, the air down below, it kind of dams it up and causes it to buckle. So there's the buckling now, and that buckling area has shifted way far north up here into Canada now, which allows the flow that goes around it on the bottom to gather, to collect up more of the United States here. See what I mean? This ridge was way out here at one point, and then it moved, and then it shifted up here. So now the transition layer is doing this with that buckling effect. Now, that buckling effect has caused our upper jet to do this now. And you can see it coming out of Alaska, coming down, splitting, going down around this ridge right here. This is weird because this ridge is protecting where I'm at. It's splitting, going up through the northern parts, cold air coming down, gathering with this warm tropical, subtropical air coming up, hitting the west coast, going more across the middle part of the country now. Before this pattern was just the southern part of the region down here. Now we're getting this hump way up into the middle section of the country, and this next storm that's coming, this dynamic is really going to wreak havoc. Well, it has the potential to wreak havoc. All right, going lower now. This is your lower jet. Okay, it's still the same configuration. It's just not as intense in speed. Okay, same configuration, a little bit lower in altitude. You can see our track going this way up here to Pacific Northwest, and then you see this gear-like effect pulling energy off of this and driving it down into this moist air, making the cocktail and slamming the cocktail at the southern coast here, Southern California, Baja California coastline there. Okay, and then as it arches up, see this arching effect? It's pushing up into the country deeper. This rotating low down here pushing up is shoving air, shoving this activity more northern. So you can see how our, just like I was saying last night, one little hiccup, one little mouse fart out of the polar vortex shifts the game entirely. So now let's go down to your weather. All right, and you can see the correlation here. Here's your storm brewing off the coast. It's going to give this Pacific moisture into Southern California, the Baja area. Meanwhile, storms are going to be coming in this alley into the Pacific Northwest. And that's going to dictate our weather for a while. Well, for the next 15 minutes until there's another shift in the polar vortex. This could all change tomorrow. I don't know. It's just crazy how fast it's changing now. And you, like I said, on this thing, you used to be able to click ahead and it would give you, 8 hours, what it projects 8 hours ahead, but it's no longer very accurate anymore. It just changes too quickly. Now, while we're here, I want to come over to the particulates. We're going to put it on the sand, and we're going to keep reporting on something that everybody else is ignoring now because it's probably so disturbing that we've had a month-long sandstorm, brutal, gnarly, stronger than a summertime sandstorm coming off of Africa in the middle of winter. Nothing to see here. Just don't look at it, pretend like it doesn't exist, and maybe it'll go away. Well, it hasn't gone away. It's still raging here off of Africa. We got China having issues now up in the Gobi Desert as well. They're having sandstorms. This sand is blowing up into Russia, up into this area as well. So, look over here. See this big wall of sand right here? There's another sandstorm right there. There's a sand front right there. You know those big clouds of sand you see moving across the desert? There's one right there. And there's another one back here. See this one right here? So the storms pick up this sand and make a big wall of sand now, like a derecho front. You've seen those derecho fronts that come through. You've seen these sandstorms too, where they pick up the sand and it's just this big wall of sand coming at them. So, having a sandstorm here in Saudi, well, heading towards Yemen, actually. Imagine that. Uh-huh. And then this, I don't even know. Look, it's coming off here. There's some going up here as well. So that's kind of like different regional sandstorms now going, multi sandstorms going on now. Okay, not just the one on Africa. There are multiple. This one in China, I saw images coming out of China. Their cities are all red during the daytime because the sun's trying to poke through the sandstorm and it just makes everything in China look red. Half of the place is frozen and the other half has red skies. They should get the clue. They should get a hint, but most people don't. Anyways, multiple sandstorms going on. Let's come on over to the gas now. So SO2 is sulfur dioxide, the gas that gets pushed out when the magma down below expands. It expands, it pushes up underneath the underside of the crust, and the gas that's caught in between gets pushed out first. And this is sulfur dioxide. And you can see it's coming out of like half of the country here is really bad. The other half ain't so bad. Totally country divided. It's clear indicator of a divided country, aren't we? We're divided along every line now. I think they've divided you from race, color, sex, religion, identity, gender. They have divided everybody along every line. It's too bad. But I'm here to reunite you guys under one banner, one flag, one man. Not a flag, but one banner. Anyways, a little darkening in this region right here. And let's come on over here. Yeah, see this patch around China darkening up a little bit? Our pressure's increased a little bit. You see how widespread the dark patch is too, okay? I'm not just looking for, darkened little spots. I'm also taking into consideration the expansion of darkness as well. So, a little pickup in pressure here. And look into Europe here. You can kind of see it too. Let's, here in Saudi Arabia, they're having issues as well. Let's go look at the island of Java here. And it seems to have lightened up a little bit at this end of the island. So pressure's kind of maybe still going on here. I mean, because we're still getting a lot of gas, but maybe it's lightened up a little bit. We probably had a few blasts in this area, so it may have lightened up some pressure there, but still pretty hefty going on. Let's go over the spot down in South America, still nice and dark. Our spot over here at the fulcrum point. So you see how this is all nice and solid purple along the coast still. And then as we go into our fulcrum point, you can see it stand out a lot more before we even zoom in on it, right? So from far back, it stands out more. That's an indicator as well that pressure has jumped. See how dominant this spot is now and how dark it is in the center? It's almost to black. So we have had a little increase in pressure, and that's because of the KP index. Remember, we saw that incoming pressure or the incoming plasma that hit. Come here, you. Right here. So that's kind of gotten down to the core level, caused the core to do a little bit of grinding and squealing right here. Okay, that pressure's coming up through the magma now, reaching the bottom side of the crust and pushing gas out. And now we're getting a little more pressure building up down below. I put it at a 7 right now. And then also, you see these lines, corridors of travel, airplanes flying stuff. They pick up this gas and like it gets pulled along in the air currents when these planes travel. That's why you see all these little lines and stuff around there. All right, so done there. Let's move on. Get on over here to the earthquake report. And let's pull back a little bit and come on over to our spot here. So, no deep quakes in this region right now. This is just off the plate boundary. It's a 4.6, but it's only at 10. So there's no deep quakes right now. All that pressure down below is still building. It's in the process of building right now, which kind of quells the quakes down there until we get the burp, the bubble that'll come up from down below. And then you'll see a deep quake in this region. Usually they've been 4.5. Sometimes they're up to 5. But we could see, a 5 or mid-range 5 deep quake in this region that would put 6 energy at the surface here, maybe tomorrow, in the next coming hours. Anyways, starting off here, 4.6. This whole area is quiet. We come up to here, we got 4.4 down at 124. That's that same energy. 4.3 right there, same energy. 4.9. What do we do with 0.9s here? Coming over here, we have a 5.2 down at 46, right here off of Java. Remember, we were just talking how Java had kind of lightened up? Well, we had some big blasts out of there today, as well as a 5.2. So this is being our little release valve, which is good. We could use a decent release valve that's not killing a bunch of people. 4.6 down at 54 there. Actually, a bunch of people dying is okay, but you'll see it differently once you get there. 4.3 down at 10. Okay, all this area, nice and quiet, huh? There's just this one little quake here. This is our biggest quake around. It's all the same energy. 4.9 right here. 4.5, mid-range 4 to 5 energy, going all up through this little area. Look how quiet it is there. Not much going on up here. We do have a fulcrum point right here, 3.5 off the coast of Oregon at a depth of 10. So there's magnitude 3 to 3.5 energy in this region. Coming down here to Alder Springs, it set off a 3.1 there. This is a 2.5, and over here in Texas, a 3.2 again here at this spot. Here on the Cocos Plate, 4.1 and a 4.5. That's good. I like to see that right there. That's a release of energy along this plate without doing too much disruption to it. So that's good. Fulcrum point quakes here. Bingo. 4.5 there. And a mid-range 4 there. Okay. And it's all basically just this activity around the Ring of Fire. All kind of quiet, mid-range 4 to 5 energy. Let's just go into the hub of the wheel here. And there's only been 2 quakes, the biggest being a 2.5. So this will probably change here in a little bit when we get a little more burp of energy mixed up from the core up through the magma to the surface. Meanwhile, we'll have volcano activity. Oh, please, Lord. I forgot to X out of other pages. I forgot to pray before this page. Oh, it's going to work anyways, Lord. Please. Yeah, it's going to work anyway. So there we go. Thank you, God. Now, if we could just scroll. I knew something. There we go. All right. So starting off here at the 26th already. Santa Guido, Fuego, Semeru, Dacono, Revenador, Luatolo, Sabancaya. Luatolo having a blast to 8,000 feet again today. Semeru here on Java. All right. 15,000 feet. Oh, 15,000 feet. Yeah, that's a huge blast. That's a lot of pressure being released. And they had that 5.2 earthquake there today, too. So we're seeing a lot of the energy being released here at Java, and it kind of corresponded with our the little drop in pressure at that part of the island there that we saw. Okay. So Java still continuing to have big blasts, and probably will, since it's our little relief valve. Okay, here we go. So Ducono, 8,000 feet. Santa Aguido, so high there was no EMS. No. There's just no information. Fuego, 14,000 feet. Reventador, Sabancaya, so high it was unable to detect. All right, let's get on into the 25th. Please, Lord, let this work. Yay, we're getting cooperation tonight. Now, during the course of today, while you were all at church or doing your thing, we had a 5,000-foot blast out of Suwanosejima. Ibu had one to 9,000 feet today. Luatolo had one to 8,000 feet today. Semeru, 15,000 feet today. So there was one today at 15,000 feet, and already again tomorrow, going into it, has had another one. Glad I don't live on the island of Java. Marapi's having blasts up to 12,000 feet. In fact, we got to tone this down a little bit now. All right, there we go. 12,000 feet there. U.S. companies owned by China. Well, pretty much all of them now, isn't it? All right, hang on here. My eyes are getting sore. So we have, what was this? 12,000 feet out of this one. Marapi on the island of Sumatra, 12,000 feet out of that. Ducono, doesn't say. Popocatépetl here, 22,000 feet. These blasts are getting huge. You know, there's a city right next to it, and they got this mountain in the background with this huge column of smoke and ash coming out of it every day. I don't know how you could live like that. Santa Guido, 13,000 feet. Fuego, 14,000 feet. All right. Nevada del Ruiz, 18,000 feet. That's huge. Sabancaya, sporadic emissions. Here's our list. These are currently erupting ones, and these are ones that are potentially gonna, could potentially go active again. Cotopaxi to watch out for, Etna, Gamalama. All right, remember that was a new one. It's back over here to, sort of active, but watch out for it possibly going active again. These are still active. They're just not erupting at the very moment. These are still erupting at the very moment. Krakatau, Ibu, Fuego, Luatolo, Luatobi, all of these. Okay, now back to this list. We got Kilauea. There's the quake activity kind of lessened there, so maybe we won't see any activity out of that. Manam, watch out for. Mayon, look out for. Nevada del Ruiz should be over here on this list. The real one to watch out for is Recahenus here. Okay, so we've seen lava, reaching up to the level to where it erupted last time, and now that lava and the uplift has gotten to that crown area again. So they're watching out for a blast. They're expecting something out of Recahenus. We have seen this little bit of pressure move in on the KP index right there, remember? So this might have a small little blast. I don't see, unless that M flare, gave an extra little boost, you might not see it. Even though it's right at the crown, right at the crust right there, it could have just a small little eruption, maybe some venting of gas, and then relax until we have another event that, hits us. Here's a Recon de Vieja. I always say Ula wound too. I swear, the one day I don't say that thing's going to catch us off guard with the biggest blast of the year so far was out of this one. So moving on now, let's go on over to our weather. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this loop and let all this load up. Now, our weather has changed again here. So we're just kind of going to do this anyways and just track the changes. That's kind of what we're doing now. It's not a weather forecast. It's more tracking the changes and just trying to be on top of it for the next change so it doesn't catch people off guard. Okay, so let me get a hold of this here and back it up. Okay, slide this down. You got your time and date in there. There we go. Okay, just a tad bit more. All right, current conditions right now, nighttime of the 25th. You can see this storm moving into the Pacific Northwest. I showed you that flow of the jet stream, so this region's going to be getting hit a little bit. So nighttime of the 25th, we go into the morning of the 26th. Noontime, convection. Now this storm up here is now colliding with this storm right here by the convection tomorrow, and then at nighttime they merge and then kind of move into the interior of the country away from California there by the morning of the 27th. Then we get into the noon. We see another round coming on the Pacific Northwest here. There's convection. There's the nighttime. Now, this is the nighttime of the 27th. This isn't too far out. This is tomorrow night. All right, so, or day after tomorrow night. This low is really deep. These millibars are getting really tight. This is going to be a huge, very windy event. The rain right here could be heavy at times. You got severe weather in here. It's not a fully linear, but it does have the chances here for severe weather. And I know a bunch of storm chasers are kind of looking at this thing going, what? Should we go up there? So we might see something out of that there. All right, now let me kind of back up again while we were talking. So at this point here, this will be the nighttime of the 27th. Another storm making landfall up here, but this big low. Then as we go from the nighttime of the 27th into the morning of the 28th, you really see it kind of gather organization here. This side is filling in. It's starting to loop together. You got ice storm up here in Canada. You guys up there in that region, pay attention. And it seems to even be reaching kind of down into the Great Lakes region there as well. So that'll be the morning of the 28th. There's the noon time right there. Now, this storm front down below here is going to be very heavy rain. It's going to be a linear storm front. And as we go into the convection, it doesn't show any kind of severe potential here, but this could change. The way this storm is wrapping up this low of 975, that's category 1 hurricane power right there, okay? You're talking very high winds, extreme blizzard on the backside, okay? High winds with just whiteout conditions. It's going to be knocking out power, a bunch of rain as well. And when you get this linear storm front right here, you see where these two boundaries meet? That has potential still, even though there's no yellow in there. There's potential in there for some severe weather, okay? Right here by the nighttime, it's very intense. You see these millibars nice and tight. They're up there in Canada, more up here, but it's still reaching down. New York, Maine, still parts of Canada. Meanwhile, over here on the West Coast, we've had this storm move in. Now, we'll back up a little bit. Here we are at the noontime again of the 28th, back to the noon of the 28th. Severe weather chances here. By the convection, they're still there. And then by nighttime, we still have nocturnal chances here on the coast of Oregon, Washington border right there at the night of the 28th while this thing's moving out. Now, as we go into the morning of the 29th here, this is moving out. It's clipping the last part of Maine, but now we have a chance for severe weather here along the Oregon, Northern California coast right there in the morning hours of the 29th. So people will be waking up. This is before 4 a.m. on the West Coast. So it could really catch people off guard right there. By the noon time, or 10 a.m. Pacific now, it's noon for the center of the country, 10 way out here. So by 10, there's still going to be severe weather. That usually don't have severe weather until the afternoon. Now we got snow in Northern California, this huge front driving inland now by convection of the 29th. And by the nighttime of the 30th, you got snow reaching the Sierras all along the coastline there. The morning of March 1st there, a lot of cold air. You see this snow coming right down to the coastline. So there'll probably be some low snow levels, and possible snow on the coast. That'll be the morning of the 1st right there when it's coldest. Then in the 10 a.m. noontime hours, we get this. Also, watch out here. This is blossoming. There's a little yellow in the center there. And then by the end of convection here, this seems to be rolling offshore. We'll see. That can change. And then we have this very strong snowstorm in the foothills, Sierras here of the Sierra Nevada by convection March 1st, going into the nighttime of March 1st, the morning of the 2nd, noontime, convection, nighttime, morning of the 3rd, and then finally clearing out here by noontime the 3rd. So that's 2 days right there of just brutal storm right there on the West Coast. So we'll even back up all the way to where it really begins here if we can. All begins up here in the Northwest with this storm as it moves in. It moves in really slow, gets intense right there on the 28th, slides down the coast on the 29th, then really starts to enter by the nighttime of the 29th, goes through the day of the 1st, into the night of the 1st, through the nighttime of the through the nighttime of the 1st, into the daytime of the 2nd, through the nighttime of the 2nd, and then finally kind of clearing out by the morning of the 3rd. Then this low starts to move inland here. You see all this stuff gathering energy right there. Okay. Sorry, I was just somebody in the chat room. I got your whitetail 7. You're going to be okay, sweetie. Anyways, back to the report here. So, this low is driving deeper into the country here and gathering strength. These tight millibars, you got icing already happening clear up in here. So the storm hasn't really even come together, and you got icing way up here. So that's the noontime of the 3rd. Convection, the nighttime. See this huge ice event up here in Canada on the 3rd. So we go into the morning of the 4th. You see how it wraps around and this finger reaches down all the way into Iowa. All right, it goes right down the middle of Minnesota here, down into Iowa. Okay, so that could change, but this is potential for the 4th. And I know it's way out there, but that's to give you more time to prepare for it. Because look at that finger of ice right there. That's the noontime of the 4th, nighttime. Actually, there's the nighttime. It didn't click. So, backing up. Starting here, the morning of the 4th, noon, convection, nighttime. Look how it intensifies at night there. Wow. Then the morning of the 5th, you see how this is so intense, it's picking up weather here and going to cause severe weather here on the coast, possibly on the 5th. That'll be the noontime, the end of convection, the 5th. Oh, blossoms right offshore at nighttime. Don't let this fool you. If this shifts one little iota, if that vortex moves a frog hair, it could back this up. It could be anywhere. But in the meantime, it looks like we might dodge this severe weather bullet, but you're still getting snow on the backside of this, and there is a little severe chance up there in Maine. And Maine has had their butts handed to them a lot this year. Here we go at the noontime of the 6th with another round here on the West Coast. Convection, nighttime, morning of the 7th, noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 8th, noon. Look at this around the 8th here. Convection of the 8th right there. The nighttime of the 8th. Morning of the 9th, noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 10th, noon, around the 10th, and that was it. All right, so that's so far out there that those ones are definitely going to change, but it's these next couple of days here that when this comes together, moves on through, watch out here, folks. And then this big long storm right here that takes a couple of days, the beginning of March through the 3rd right there for the West Coast. And it drives up and causes a big ice storm up there. So those are our two main events that are coming. They might not pan out exactly as this forecast is showing, but we do have some severe weather coming our way for, this part of the region. Here first, right there around February 28th and 29th. Then this storm coming in on the 1st through the 3rd. And then whatever it decides to do after that through the 6th. Okay. All right. So there's your solar forecast and weather and everything for tonight. And we're going to move on to the spiritual report here. So Well, we're in transition, and thank you guys for coming, and hope you enjoyed this. Let me get rid of some of these instruments here if we can. Um, you know, let's start here and get rid of that one. I got to get rid of some of these instruments here because my computer jams up if we don't. Please, can we just do one? There we go. It's good enough. I'm not going to risk it. All right, let's see here. Oh, so before we get kind of started here, this is another channel I kind of visit every once in a while. This is more for the guys. This is Thor News. He does some interesting reports. He's kind of a crazy type of character, but very, very fun guy. And I wish we could get this pulled back up. You come over here, give him a thumbs up if you like him. What I'm trying to pull up, though, is this report that he's reporting on. Please, Lord, can we have this? Why is it not coming in very well? No. Quality? Can I have some quality here? Thank you. Wow. They tried to cut me on the quality. Anyways, what I wanted to do is actually comment on this article that he brought up here in his little show. Big tech's AI models choose violence and escalated to nuclear strikes in simulated war games, even in neutral scenarios. All right. Now, you see the robot sitting there thinking and pondering. Well, maybe you guys should be thinking and pondering here too a little bit. Again, with these headlines and the way they present stuff. All right. I want you to think here for a minute. Big tech's AI models choose violence. So let me just simplify this for you. AI chooses violence, even in neutral scenarios. The simple message: AI models choose violence, even in neutral scenarios, and will even escalate to nuclear strikes in neutral scenarios. Now, do you see what the robot's thinking? They're advertising how they're going to kill you. They're telling you they're going to kill you. But they make it sound like it's all fluffy and, oh, wow, this wonderful robot is coming up with violence and nuclear strikes, even in a neutral scenario. How awesome that is. No, it's not. It's insanity. AI stands for absolute insanity. Now let's read it again. Big tech's AI models choose violence and escalated to nuclear strikes in simulated war games, even in neutral scenarios. AI chooses violence and nuclear strikes in neutral scenarios. Okay? Not going to tell you how to think or feel. I just want you to kind of be aware. Okay, so there was that. And then also some fun on his channel. He does some weather reporting as well. And this is the storm configuration that's out there in the clouds right now. And how funny he goes and fills them in. But it's 1976. The bicentennial. The way the storms are lined up, and there is these cuts in the clouds. This one is shaped like a 9. This one's shaped like a 6. There is this V-shaped cut in the clouds and a dash right here. And it's it really is God speaking. And how awesome that this guy actually caught it and picked it up and saw it and filled in the numbers for you. So you might enjoy him. He's a guy. He's more for the guys in this group. All right. Ladies, you might enjoy him too. But he's a good old boy, Generation Xer. This is a funny little picture from it. Whoopsie, where'd it go? Oh, come on, Lord. Can we just have... I can't use a play bar without an ad. Right here. This is funny. Oh, come back here, you. I hit pause next time. This image here he did. Bigfoot riding a Loch Ness monster underneath the UFO. Don't be surprised, because this is what you're going to see here probably soon. But how crazy. Here's Bigfoot riding the Loch Ness monster, waving at you underneath the UFO. So he's got a good sense of humor, and he gives you some interesting news and angles and stuff to look at. But I just wanted to point out the 1976 here, the Bigfoot, and then this article is very disturbing. They need to stop portraying this as a good idea and start unplugging everything before it kills us. Anywho, now back to the spiritual report. Come back over here to my channel here. And, can we do that? We'll play it that way. Or maybe I'll just pull it up. I want to pull up this image again, and we'll do some reading to that image. Why is my chat jamming up? Aha. Hang on just a second here. My chat jammed up. Shall we play a game? I got an idea. Instead of wargaming, instead of using AI to war game stuff, how about you use it to peace game? There's an idea. Hey, AI, could you figure out a way for us to find peace? Nope. No, well, nobody'd come up with that program, huh? I mean, what are you thinking? Why would you want a program of peace? All right, so now I got to try to find... Oh, it was Mr. MBB. That's what I want. Hang on, let me pull up this image again. There he is. Sure, some of you guys watched Mr. MBB 333, I believe. Yes, it was this one. I like Mr. Bradbury. He's a good man. He does a good job. I don't agree with all of his stuff, but that's okay. That's why we can agree to disagree, because people have different perspectives. And if we were all the same, how boring would that be? All right. Anyways, tilt your head to the left. You can see the eyebrows here, the nose, the lips, the chin. It's a face looking down. It's actually my face. And when I'm reading these notes to you, I have a book light, and it kind of shines on that side of my head. So this is actually what I look like when I'm reading my stuff to you guys. All right. So that's awesome that this image just... God provided this for us. Somebody else captured this and sent it into MBB. All right, he was looking at how the moon is refracting off the clouds, making it look like two moons or whatever. But what they didn't see is the much bigger picture that we can see here at this channel. We understand a little bit better than most people do, okay? So with that, I'm going to start my reading and get my book light out. We got our image up. Let's just check the chat. Tell us first what they are going to do to us to release them from their guilt. Well, to release them from their guilt is also to get you to agree with it. That's why I'm saying don't fall for it. Don't agree with that stuff. See through that. When you have my perspective, you can see through these articles and see the truth. Funny how that there's no X flares coming off right now. All the systems are working good now. We're not getting hacked or having any of these problems right now. Anyway, I will leave that up to you to make your decision, your choice. That's what the best part about free will is. Okay, getting my light set up and about ready to dive in here. Oh, yes. Okay, hang on here. I got to get a sip. Everybody, take a deep breath. I'm going to do it too, so. All the way in. Hold it for a second. Oh, all the way out. Oh, sometimes with a sigh. Oh, feels good. Do it again. Okay. Get all curled up with your drink, your blanket, your teddy bear, whatever it is that you got, that you like to do at this point of our show. Get all comfy. Okay. Get all nice and comfy and cozy as you sit quietly in my presence. Remember that I am a God of abundance. I will never run out of resources. My capacity to bless you is unlimited. You live in a world of supply and demand where necessary things are often scarce. Even if you personally have enough, you see poverty in the world around you. It is impossible for you to comprehend the lavishness of my provisions, the fullness of my glorious riches. Through spending time in my presence, you gain glimpses of my overflowing vastness. These glimpses are tiny foretasters of what you will experience eternally in heaven. Even now, you have access to as much of me as you have faith to receive. Rejoice in my abundance, living by faith and glimpses, sometimes by sight. Come to me with your plans, held in obedience. Worship me in spirit and in truth, allowing my glory to permeate your entire being. Trust me enough to let me guide you through each day, accomplishing. I gotta end this. I got a call. Hang on, we gotta end.